It's the last Monday in June. Hello and welcome to JoyNews Today. The bulletin is live from our studios here in Kokomlemle, Accra. We're also live on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 125 and around the world on myjoyonline.com. I am MFA Akosia Adeti. Coming up this afternoon, minority in Parliament up in arms yet again against the Economic and Organized Crime Office, accusing the state investigative body of weaponizing bail conditions to persecute former New Patriotic Party government appointees as former Buffer Stock Company CEO and wife remain in custody for failing to meet bail conditions. We have these plus provide an update on the case against former Gihok Maxwell Kofi-Juba, who is still in custody after he was arrested over the weekend. You stay with us for updates on that. We'll also tell you about a suit by a private lawyer demanding that EOCO and other security agencies put arrested persons before court after 48 hours if they are unable to meet their bail conditions. We'll get into that as well. And schools shut in Nkwanta following renewed clashes that have left 2 students dead.
We have made the schools are closed down in Nkwanta town and its environment. Yeah, wherever these issues are happening, the schools are shut down.
We're live in Nkwanta for updates. You want to stay with us. And as well, Noguchi Memorial Institute rules out a localized COVID-19 resurgence, contradicting Ghana Health Service claims. More as the University of Ghana authorities meet health service on Tuesday over cases on campus. Stay with us because we've got these plus business and sports in this package. JoyNews independent, fearless and credible. Thank you for staying with us once again. First, the minority in Parliament is once more up in arms against the Economic and Organized Crime Office, accusing it of weaponizing bail conditions to persecute appointees of the erstwhile New Patriotic Party administration. This comes after former Chief Executive Officer of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, Abdul Hanan Wahab, and his wife continued to remain in EOCO custody for failing to meet bail conditions after the arrest last week. The bail conditions are 80 million cedis with 3 sureties, all to be justified. Member of our legal affairs desk, Kweku Asante, joins me with some details. Kweku, now briefly, let's recount the story behind the arrest last week. Kweku, do I have you? We'll try and reconnect with Kweku again to just recount what has amounted to this arrest and why they are still in custody. We've already been telling you that the bail condition 80 million with 3 sureties, as the minority have said that it's just a weapon that the current administration is using against former NPP appointees. I'll try again to see if Kweku Asante is on. Kweku, if you can hear me, give us an update, or maybe let's recount what exactly led to the arrest.
So last week, Wednesday, the national security operatives, together with officers of EOCO, did conduct some national security operations and arrested both Mr. Hanan, who used to be the CEO of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, and the President Akufo-Addo, together with the wife in Accra and Tamale. They have been held since last week, Wednesday, and EOCO actually gave them bail to the tune of 50 million cedis with 2 sureties to be justified on the part of Mr. Hanan. With regards to the wife, 30 million cedis with 2 sureties, 1 to be justified. Both persons have not been able to meet these bail conditions and have been kept in custody since last week. It's been 5 days. Both of them have still not been able to meet the bail conditions and are still in custody. It is on this basis that the minority have put out a statement criticizing EOCO for what they claim to be persecution of former NPP government officials.
Well, Kweku, so they're asking a revision of the bail conditions. What more have they been saying, or what further actions are they indicating they will take?
Well, so this is a statement signed by the deputy leader of the minority in Parliament, Patricia PJ, that is actually slamming the Economic and Organized Crime Office for what they believe to be persecution. Let me quote part of it. It says, the EOCO, as we know, should serve Ghana, not political interest. We demand the immediate review of the bail conditions imposed on Mr. Wahab and the wife. The bail must be reasonable, fair, and consistent with the law, and not an indirect punishment. Mr. Wahab must be released on terms that uphold both his dignity and the principles of justice. So it's quite a test statement signed by the deputy leader that is criticizing EOCO, accusing EOCO of being a linchpin of the National Democratic Congress that is attacking as-well government officials and seeking to persecute them, seeking to silence them. Let's say the bail condition for the two persons, which sums up to about 80 million cedis, must be reviewed immediately.
Right, Kweku, stay with me because we shall get into that reliefs that the private lawyer is seeking, especially when it comes to 48 hours when a person is in custody. But I have with me on phone now the counsel to minority, John Darko. Thank you for your attention this afternoon. So, well, of course, he's also the member of parliament for Swame. And it's been 5 days since Mr. Hanan and his wife were arrested. Apart from this statement, what else is your side hoping to do?
Well, I mean, this is very sad for the minority. We intend to bring this, of course, to the attention of the public. And we intend to raise this issue on the floor of Parliament tomorrow and the days after, if their freedoms continue to be violated like this. Look, we understand what is going on. We know that they will tell us that bail has been granted, but if bail condition is granted in such a way that you cannot meet it, then it amounts to, refusal of the bail. How do we profess to be a human rights country when the rights of our citizens are violated without any punishment? How do you keep people 5 days? And the defense is that we have granted the bail, you have to fulfill it. How do you, EOCO, expect people to provide properties worth over 80 million Ghana cedis? We need to speak up as a country. We cannot use bail as a pre-trial conviction or pre-trial sentence. The trial hasn't happened. The person is deemed, innocent until proven guilty. But what the government and its agencies are doing is to deny the rights of these well-meaning Ghanaians, people who have served their country wholeheartedly. We as the NPP, we've made this point. We are not against prosecuting offenders, but this must be done within the law. We have to ensure that the rights of citizens are not violated the way they are being done by EOCO and these other state institutions. So as you asked me, on the floor of Parliament in the coming days, we'll be raising these issues and expect the people of Ghana to join us to condemn the violations of human rights. Look, we did not fight the military government to subject ourselves to democratic dictatorship as is happening right now.
Are you going to court to just ask for a revision of the bail conditions?
As I've always maintained, in the case of one-to-me matter, that is still available to lawyers. But you see, before you can even go to court and get proper hearing, you need to have the charge sheet and all of that. So what is the charge against them? You need to put all of that together in order to get a proper hearing before the court. I believe that his lawyers must begin to initiate proceedings to ask them to produce them, but the habeas corpus application will lie against EOCO if they continue to detain them. Look, the fact that you granted them bail doesn't mean they have the right to keep them forever. As part of your investigation, you can take them to court and get the court to grant bail, get a bench bail. The police and these state institutions cannot use their powers to deny the people of Ghana their freedom that are enshrined.
I mean, lastly, we recall that on the Wontumi matter, we saw that you did a sit-down protest. While protest is quite a potent means of airing your views in this country, do you think that this will amount to nothing? Because I recall that this was also mentioned on the floor of Parliament, and you're almost going nearly the same route. Do you think that is still the most potent way to go for the minority?
Well, we've issued this statement we expect the people of Ghana to support this cause. We are not fighting for an individual. We are fighting for the freedoms of every Gambian. And so, yes, going to demonstration is always one of them. Leadership hasn't decided on that. Tomorrow we'll raise that on the floor, and then we see the outcome. These are the subsequent things we'll do. The first is the statement we've issued. Tomorrow we'll raise it on the floor, and then we'll continue to raise any violation of any Ghanaian whose rights are violated. Continue to raise them.
Please stay with me for a moment, because still on arrest and detentions, former managing director of GEOC, Marcel Kofi was also arrested on Sunday at his home in Kumasi by operatives of the National Security. And again, we understand that he since has been brought to Accra, the police headquarters, for questioning, and he's expected to be charged with stealing. I just want to get your comment on this one as well.
Well, as I said earlier on, we are not against accountability. If the former GEOC director has violated the laws of Ghana, let him go through the court process. You've arrested him, you've read him his right, you charge him. If you feel that you need to grant a bill, make the condition in such a way that he can meet the condition, and then send him to court after 8 hours after 40 of the constitution. Let's follow the due process.
Okay.
The due process, 4 to 10 sections, we all for it.
Right.
Okay. That we need to respect, right? Yes. We shouldn't use the state institution just try to power. We shouldn't be in that. And so, yes, I could be where we are good.
Okay. Unfortunately, your line is not favoring me this afternoon, but thank you for joining us today on JoyNews Today. Now, Kweku, a lawyer, Noah Ephraim Adamte, has sued the Attorney General, asking the Supreme Court to declare as unconstitutional the practice of state security organizations arresting persons and keeping them beyond 48 hours because the bail conditions they impose have not been met. Now, Kweku, what is he seeking particularly? What are his reliefs?
So ultimately, Noah Ephraim Adamte is asking the Supreme Court to declare that if state security agencies arrest any persons and impose the bail conditions, and those conditions are not met within the 48-hour window that they are allowed to keep accused persons, they have to present this person to a court of competent jurisdiction for the court to impose its own bail conditions. He argues that it appears some state security agencies are using their own bail conditions as a ruse to continuously keep persons who they arrest for various infractions. Bearing in mind the decision in Martin Pebu and also the constitutional injunction that you cannot keep an accused person for more than 48 hours. So Noah Ephraim Adamte is now asking the Supreme Court to make an authoritative declaration on this matter and put an end to this practice. The court is yet to schedule a date for the hearing, and we are following that case keenly. As and when that matter is listed for hearing, we'll bring the details on Joy News.
Thank you, Kweku. Always a champion. Thank you for joining us. But still on Joy News today, let's go to Nkwanta in the OT region, where the Regional Security Council has shut down schools in the area following renewed communal violence. The clashes have left 2 students dead and 3 others injured in separate incidents, one shot while in class and another on her way to school. 10 people have been arrested so far in connection with the violence. OT Regional Minister and Chairman John Kwejo Japon spoke earlier on News Desk.
It's cool now. When you talk about Nkwanta town, I think there is some peace there. Everybody is going about his work normally. Then in other areas, for now, haven't heard bad news. So when it's about the current, I think the current situation is okay. There's no problem. We haven't sleeping anywhere. But yesterday was a bad day. Yesterday was bad, where reports about 4 deaths in Nkwanta municipality. 1 person died in Kiri, and then 3 people were killed tonight. Yes, in the Oh yeah, we have made the schools are closed down in Panta town and its environment. Yeah, wherever these issues are happening, the schools have been shut down. And when it comes to Panta, other businesses are also closed down their work. All the banks that work in Panta are closed down. The system also closed down, and people are leaving the town, the municipality. Yeah.
Now, Peter Senu is in the OT region and joins us with updates. Now, Peter, tell me, is Monday or some days after the renewed clash? Now, he says that, the regional chairman says that, well, the schools in Nkwanta and its environs have been shut down. What does he really mean?
Well, this means that no teacher is going to school, no student is supposed to be in school, and as it stands, almost all workers in the Nkwanta South municipality are in their various homes or may have left the municipality for their various to their various families, as I have seen some of them leave over the past few days, that is 5 days ago. So, well, the community is being deserted, although you may see a few people move around. The entire community is more deserted as we speak.
Right, so he said it environs. That's what caught my attention. In its environs as well, which means that not inside Nkwanta itself. Does this extend to places like Alavanyo and the rest?
Not really. Alavanyo is a bit far from Nkwanta. Nkwanta is towards the northern part of then Volta North proper.
Okay.
And so if we say its environs, we mean surrounding villages like Kiri, Power, Shiari, Bonache, and there are a lot of villages surrounding Nkwanta. And in fact, that is where some of these communal clashes are breaking up. And I don't know, we cannot independently confirm, but my sources indicate that just this night, or last night, I should say, there were some a burning down of some chief's house somewhere around Bonache, Kiri. And so, well, security would have to maybe confirm this to us, but that is my learnings on the ground. And so, in as much as we see relative calm return to the place, workers are leaving, and some communal clashes are breaking on the outskirts of main Nkwanta town. That's one we can report.
Well, Peter, you say that workers are leaving. Do you mean that the school workers or other services that are happening in the town as well have been halted?
In fact, other service providers. We talk about the GCB Bank. We know with a statement from them that they have temporarily closed down. And so as we speak, they've not opened to public yet. In fact, there are about 5 banks in Nkwanta, and we learned they have also closed down. There are 2 hospitals in there, the St. Joseph's, which is a mission hospital, and then the government side. In fact, workers have left. Just that some departments have a few men left, and then that is how come the hospitals are still running. If not, they may be totally shut down, since everyone is running for his or her life as we speak. And so if we say workers are leaving, almost everyone is leaving for safety.
The town must look like a ghost town then.
Really, that is what is happening, that everyone is leaving. And just as I indicated in the morning, just as some relative peace would want to come back to the area, some of these clashes rear its ugly head and disturb the peace that is the area would want to enjoy. And so, well, for me, we would have to call on the feuding factions at least to give peace a chance. Nkwanta, as we know, is the largest municipality in the Oti region. And distraction to business and life and other activities would mean a rundown of maybe say revenue, and we know some investors have come into the region and they have folded back but they wanted to make investment.
Oh, the network is not my very good friend this afternoon, but Peter is still with us, and maybe in the course of the bulletin, on the subsequent bulletin, we may engage. Okay, we may engage
So they
Peter.
have come back and said they cannot because of some of these communal clashes.
Right.
For the region to develop as a fresh prevail, especially in Nkwanta, which is a business hub in the region.
Right. Thank you so much, Peter Senu. Reports from the OT region. Now let's take you to Kumasi, where efforts to resolve the protracted Boko chieftaincy conflict have resumed as the Asante Hinotu for 32 the second engages the Kusag faction at the Mensha Palace. This is part of renewed dialogue to end decades of violent clashes between the Kusasi and the Mampusi factions over the rightful occupancy of the Boko skin. Sources at Mensha Palace indicate that today's meeting will focus on hearing the concerns of the Kusas leadership gathering proposals for peaceful coexistence and charting a path towards lasting reconciliation. Nana Bwachi Adam has been following this story and joins us with updates. Nana, have the groups arrived in the palace yet?
The Kusan faction have arrived at the Mensha Palace. They were there as early as 10 a.m. This morning to engage with the Asante. They are not the very last faction to meet the Asante, but this is one of the largest factions in the conflict that are supposed to sit with the Asante this morning, or this afternoon, while they find a lasting solution to the protracted conflict in Boko.
And so you say they have arrived. Do we know how long they're staying in Kumasi or the Ashanti region?
Well, we are looking at between today and tomorrow, but sources at Mensha Palace confirmed that it is going to be a very brief engagement today because they arrived in Kumasi today, and then probably tomorrow they are going to have the extensive conversation. All of these is to make sure that the mediation process yields results. So it's going to be not sort of a long stay, but a very short one for them in the next 2 days in Kumasi.
I mean, we say that the Kusas, the leadership of the Kusasi people, but what do we mean by the leadership? Have you identified any chief, any religious leader? What kind of leadership are we talking about?
Well, MFA, in the previous engagement between the Mampusi faction and the Kusasi faction, when they were here around the April 28th, we realized that the leadership alone was allowed to come into the palace. There were strict security restrictions given to them not to come along with their residents or probably supporters. So when we talk of leadership coming in, they are identified as the traditional council members and then the chiefs in the area. And so these are the people that constitute the leadership of the factions that are supposed to meet the Asante today.
What's the ambience like in the Mensha Palace? I mean, the Mensha Palace is already a sight to behold, but what's the ambience like particularly?
Well, tight security at the Mensha Palace. Anytime there is this form of engagement, you realize that these factions, although they are well situated in Boko, they have some of their members or their people in Kumasi. And so sometimes we have their supporters come in with them, troop in with them. So almost every time they come in their numbers, but it is their leadership that are permitted into the inner perimeter of the palace. And so for ambience, you would hear a lot of noise from the supporters who come along with their leaders. These supporters who basically stay in the Ashanti region, but they are not permitted to enter the premises of the Mensha Palace.
Thank you, Nana. I know that you're following this keenly and you'll be bringing us updates. Thank you for bringing us updates on News Today. And the Noguchi Memorial Institute is warning that Ghana is currently not only experiencing a localized resurgence of COVID-19, but is also receiving cases from different parts and regions of the country. Head of Virology at the Noguchi Memorial Institute, Professor Kofi Bani, says the current strain does not cause severe disease, but spreads faster and may prove dangerous to vulnerable persons.
From February, we had a little spike, not too much. We'll have influenza cases, then we'll have some COVID cases. Then way down, somewhere in May, we started getting cases from other regions. Eastern region, we had some few cases there. Greater Accra, some parts outside university districts, the district that university is fine, is situated. We have some cases coming in from the Volta region, Ashanti region. So we have had cases from all these regions. But you see, what broke the camel's back was 2 weeks ago, where we had an overwhelming number of cases from the university community. That is what maybe gave reason to the circular that the university sent around, that then the university should be, the university community should be aware of what is happening so that they will take the needed precautions. So yes, it is not a localized resurgence, I would say. We'll be having these cases, and it is expected because we are in the rainy season. And during this time, we are expecting to have a lot of these respiratory infections coming up, especially the influenza-like illnesses.
Meanwhile, the Dean of Students at the University of Ghana, Professor Rosina Chemantin, says university authorities will meet with the institution's health services on Tuesday to discuss the COVID-19 cases.
Waiting to have a briefing. Good morning.
Good morning.
And we are waiting to have a briefing from the University Health Services. So we have a meeting with them tomorrow, and then they will give us the updated numbers. Then we know what measures to take.
But before you put a ban on social gatherings, with the exception of maybe lectures, what was the information you had? How many cases, at least, did you hear about before taking such a measure?
Well, we know that the numbers were increasing gradually. So there was a resurgence, and so we needed to take measures to contain the numbers.
So these numbers, were they domestically, developed, or they came from outside the country, you'd say?
Well, one cannot tell.
Okay.
One cannot tell because we have, the university community is big. We have people coming from outside, people within, people going outside and coming back in, so you cannot tell.
Well, so that's the current update on the COVID-19 cases that you may have heard on the University of Ghana campus. Now, away from that, journalists in Ghana are at the polls today to elect leaders for the Ghana Journalists Association. Now, let's speak to Rafiq, who will bring us updates in his region. Rafiq, what's it like so far?
The update in the Upper West region is that, 19 members of the GJ are currently voting in the Upper West region. The venue is just a doorstep away from the GJ office. It's currently happening at the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, Block B. As I speak to you now, out of the 19 members, 16 of them have so far voted. You can see the 16th person currently now, which is Madam Didu Bagiru, who used to work with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. So everything is really calm here. But talking about the general elections here in the Upper West region, only one position is up for grab. Talking about the regional chairmanship of the GJA, two personalities are contesting, the person of Seydou Bomanjo, who works for GBC, and also Prosper Kwame Koso, who used to work for the Ghana News Agency, but now a lecturer at the University for Business and Integrated Development Studies. And so currently, that's what is really happening in the Upper West region. But in terms of the national elections, all polling booths are here. The people are voting. I can also only see one contestant, who happens to be Mr. Caesar Abagali, who works for the Ghana News Agency. He's the one contestant for the Public Affairs Office of the GJ. And so everything is going on smoothly. It's left with about 2.5 hours to go. And then in the Upper West region, after the 19 persons that have penciled their name for the elections, only 16 of them have so far voted.
West region, journalists in the Upper West region, what does this election and this regional chairman for the association, if the person wins, what will it mean for journalists in the Upper West region?
I managed to speak to one of the contestants, who happens to be Seydou Bomanjo. He works for GBC. He told us that one thing that he would like to do, should he be given a nod, has to do with what the increasing the members of the Ghana Journalists Association. As we speak now, Upper West here, we've gotten about almost 21 radio stations in the region. And the number of persons who are really voting today are about 19. And so he's saying that he's going to embark on the membership drive so that many people will control the fold of the GTE.
Well, so we have about how many minutes or hours to wrap the entire process today?
Currently, we have about 2.5 hours, and as I told you, we have the 16 person still online. I've just seen the 17 person who will be voting, the former regional chairman, Bajim Povia, who used to work for the Ghana News Agency. He also just arrived for the voting. And so now about 2.5 hours to go, and then 16 so far are in the queue, are online, vote to decide the fate of the DJ in the Upper West region.
Thank you so much, Rafiq, for bringing us updates on that election. And it's that time of the year, the National Science and Maths Quiz competition. Now, Now, the National Science and Math Quiz competition is underway in the northern and southern sectors. Let's get updates from Adobia Asare and a little later as well, Collins Frimpong. Adobia, tell us briefly, what's the mood like at the quiz center?
MFA, so the first contest has just ended and Archbishop Porter girls just emerged winners in the Western Regional qualifiers of the 2025 National Science and Math Quiz. They won with 73 points, which is 56 points away from their closest contenders. Now, they were very excited as they have advanced to face other contestants who are going to qualify this week to battle for the regional championship. However, whether or not they win, they've still secured a slot in the national championship. So they were excited. That's just a few minutes ago.
There's this smile that you always wear when it's time for the National Science and Math Quiz, and you're just wearing it today. But beyond that, what's the energy like, especially in the Western region, and for these Archbishop Porter girls who won today?
Well, today being the first day, when they came in, they were all quiet. They didn't want to engage us, and it's understandable. They were all a bit tense. Apart from Archbishop, of course, they were less tense than the others, but everyone else was quiet, and the place was really quiet. They were seated. It was after they won that they jubilated a bit, but the other schools just maintained silence. You know, they were still quiet.
That's quite typical of a girls' school, is it not? Always prim and proper. All right. Well, so you say that the next one will be, what more updates can we get from you?
Well, the next schools came in not too long ago. That's Fijai Senior High School, St. Augustine Senior High School. I don't quite remember the rest of the two, but they are in. They are being briefed. We're not able to speak to them because of time. They are being briefed on the rules to follow during the competition. So they are in the auditorium right now, listening to the rules to follow in the game.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Adobia Asare. We'll definitely come back to you for how that will end. But I'll take you now to Bono, where my colleague Collins Frimpong is also covering the Bono regional qualifiers. Collins, what can you report? Kindly unmute.
The TV.
Collins, kindly unmute. We'll take you back to Collins and get the updates from the Bono region. We'll just get him to update or just give us an update where we're able to hear him. But we'll stay on that. But back here, a major armed robbery syndicate operating in the Kumasi Metropolis has been busted by the Ashanti Regional Police Command following a coordinated intelligence-led operations. Now, the arrests come after weeks of terror by the gang across residential areas, including Ibakwa, Tanoso, Apatrapa, Dichaboso, and Apiedu. Addressing the press in Kumasi, Regional Police Commander DCOP Manuel Kujo revealed one suspect was fatally shot during an exchange with the gunfire with officers. Let's go live and bring updates from the Ashanti region from my colleague Irabna Akwe. Irabna, what more can you report on this?
Yeah, so 9 people have currently been busted by the police following several recent robbery incidents. They go invade the homes of people, they keep them hostages, and they ransack their homes of all the valuables. That is, they take laptops, their phones, their money, sometimes cars, weapons. In one incident, there was a rape that occurred that one person confessed to. And so far, 2 people were injured, but one person has been confessed dead in a police shootout that occurred during the operation to cap them.
Well, Irabna, I hope that you're able to hear this question and answer me because of the network. Do we know the identities of these suspects? Unfortunately, we definitely will bring you details in our subsequent bulletins, but you're watching, Joe. We'll try it again. Yes, Irabna, if you can hear me. Do you know the identities of these suspects?
Yes, please hold on for me. Let me get their names and details.
Okay.
They are between the ages of 20, their mid-20s to their early 40s.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Well, of course, this is a developing story. Okay. Okay, we'll definitely will bring you the details. My colleague will bring us that details in our subsequent bulletins. Irabrakwe from the Ashanti region. You're watching Joy News Today. Please stay. We've got business and sports.
Hello and welcome to Joy News Today, and this is a business segment of the program. Ghana is now making some significant progress in dealing with the current standoff with Afri-Exim Bank over restructuring of debts owed to the institution. This is what Joy Business has picked up from persons close to the transaction in Abuja, Nigeria. More in this report.
It's a well-structured meeting, and consensus building has made everything smooth for everybody. And I say bravo to the shareholders, management, and leadership of Afri-Exim Bank. I think we are on course, and Afri-Exim will continue to support Africa.
Who should a new incoming president?
Well, he has been in the system for a long time, so he knows the history, he knows the tradition, and he has pledged to build on the foundation that has been laid before him. And so we believe, we trust that he will deliver.
What is your expectation going forward as well?
My expectation is that Afri-Exim will grow, and that it will be able to support Africa's development. Because Africa understands Africa, and so Afri-Exim Bank is in the best position to finance development projects in Africa in a way that will fit the needs of Africans.
I wanted to find out whether you've been able to resolve some of the issues that came up previously in terms of Ghana and then Afri-Exim Bank.
I think the most important thing is for us to talk. That is, I mean, media exchanges will not help Ghana, it will not help Afri-Exim Bank. And so it's important that
you are talking to resolve the issue.
Yes,
basically,
we are.
I heard you made some significant
progress. Yes, we are.
In Ghana,
very soon we'll let you know what is
happening.
The United Nations Development Programme is advocating for tax relief measures to support small businesses in Ghana. This call was made by the UNDP Deputy Resident Representative to Ghana, Shaima Hussein, during the United Nations Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Day celebration.
The market is growing, and the government has put some bold steps to support MSMEs, and they are tackling this support from different angles. We speak today about digital gateways that we're launching with the government. It aims to be a one-stop shop to facilitate registration and also exchange of information. So there is one element that the government is taking step to resolve. Access to finance. There are also some bold steps from Stanbic, from also mobile money carriers, but there is always such kind of access to finance available, but not enough. So we need more commercial banks to come to the forefront. We need more development funds to come forefront to support MSMEs. And these are the areas that will help them access credit and grow their businesses and improving their revenues. Similar story with the taxation, where we want to see some tax relief, some incentives for MSMEs that will help them also to grow. And the government is taking here really bold steps, and they are reviewing these things. So we hope with these kind of policies that are still in the processing, in the making, they will help MSMEs to grow and expand.
That's it for the business segment on Joy News Today. I am Pius Kudubaka.
We bring you sports now on Joy News Today with me, Muftao Nabila Abla. The 2025 edition of the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament has been scheduled for August 9, 2025 at the University of Ghana Stadium. About 15 separate sporting disciplines are expected to be on stage as many companies scramble to be part of this year's event. If you're a company that wants to be part of this year's event, you can get in touch with us and register. You contact us via the phone number 054-010-6466. And if you call that line or WhatsApp that line, you'll be getting in touch with the events team, of which Slevin will be responding to them. You can also come to the Joy FM front desk, pick up a form, or go on myjoyonline.com and download the form and register to be part of this year's event. Some of the events that are going to be the highlights of this year's competition is a CEO's penalty shootout, which was won by IS Evolution Consult Chief Executive Officer, Divine Ter, and also the women's 100 and 200 meters events that will be happening. In the football event last year, it was won by Cosa Bright Company. They are into engineering and electrical services. They picked Emigo Ghana, producers of Yummy Yogurt, to win the football competition. And MPA, National Petroleum Authority, they won as many as 4 gold medals. In last year's event was ARB Apex Bank, won 3 gold medals and 2 silver medals in the competition last year. So if you want to be a part of this year's event, just as you can see, this was a crowd for the Chief Executive Officer's penalty shootout, and this was the track events at the competition. And in fact, proud to say that when I met Evans in the 100 meters, I followed him and I won that. So you can sign up to be part of this year's event, which is going to be happening on August 9, 2025. That's your sports for now. I've got more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. Up next is World News.
Time now for World News. Now, civil rights groups say at least 7 people have been killed during a crackdown on protesters who are calling for Togo's leader, Faure Gnassingbé, to step down and release political prisoners. Reports say dozens more have been injured, some severely. The unrest follows Gnassingbe's recent swearing in as president of the Council of Ministers, a role with no term limits, further consolidating his rule since taking office since 2005. The opposition has condemned the move as a constitutional coup and demanded the release of political prisoners and urgent economic relief for citizens. Now let's speak to our in-house contributor on security and international affairs, Alassane Bello. Let's start. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, but let's start with some context. What exactly does this new Council of Ministers role entail, and why is it so controversial?
Good afternoon to you and and am I audible enough?
Of course you are. Thank you.
It's a way of what you call it, extending the rule of Faure Gnassingbé. That's where the Togolese and do. Prior to these recent constitutional reforms, Togo used to be a semi-presidential system, which is peculiar to French West Africa, just like it is in France. But the president has substantial powers more than the prime minister. But then having exhausted, you see, he came to power in 2005 against after the death of his father, with some controversy, which was under international pressure. But then he won the election in 2005, and then won another election for a second term in 2010, which actually ends in 2015. Then he brought a new constitution that he argued to have reset his own term in office. And that election had 2 more terms. So from 2015 to 2020, that was the first step, the so-called controversial reset.
Right.
And then 2025 put an end to that, what you call it, experiment. So having got a chance of using constitutional reform at the presidency level, which is rule, Gnassingbé had the man decided to revert to a more parliamentary system of government, whereby he becomes prime minister and can rule indefinitely. Because now, as an executive prime minister, under the rule of a ceremonial president, he still with executive power. And quite interestingly, unlike the previous constitution, where the president was elected by popular vote, now parliament has been empowered to elect the president, more or less giving Yadema a final say concerning who becomes the president and who does not become the president.
Well, Bello, I have lots of questions for you, but of course this is a developing story, and so I'm certain that I'm going to be coming to you in our subsequent bulletins for you to bring us more breakdown on what's happening currently in Togo. You're still watching, but thank you as well for making time for us today on Joy News Today. But you're still watching Joy News Today, and I have a big surprise for you on Showbiz today. Please stay.
Well, it's time for Showbiz. My name is Loishola Ademi. Let's get into our news. Now, episode 8 of Joy Prime's culinary extravaganza, Big Chef Junior dubbed Day Water Mystery Challenge was one filled with lots of fun. The contestants were put into groups of 4 to decorate their cakes, and in the end, Raziela and Sasha's beautiful cake, butterfly cake, skyrocketed their marks on the judges' score sheets, landing them the Star Chef of the Day title. There's more in this report.
Episode 8 of Joy Prime's kids culinary reality TV show Big Chef Junior Season 4 saw the remaining 8 contestants show up ready for the Day Water Mystery Challenge. To lift their spirits after the emotional eviction in the previous episode, the young chefs were encouraged to have fun while decorating their cakes. They balloted to end up in groups of 2 and listen to the rules and time allotted for their task.
So how many minutes do they have to?
Okay, so basically you have 30 minutes to get your whipped cream done. Okay, so you whip your cream as in the powder and the water, get it done. All this amounts to that 30 minutes, so you don't have much time.
Although the teams couldn't complete their challenge within the initial 30 minutes limit, they were granted an extra 10 minutes to finish up.
By the level they have gotten to, I think 10 minutes, they should be complete with the job. So 10 minutes is okay. Okay, so you have 10 minutes. So this time, get everything done correct.
Next came the much anticipated presentation of their decorated cakes.
We named it Clark.
What?
It's perfect.
Clark.
Clark.
Hey, and you say Gen Alpha 410 mana. Is what does it mean? It means it's perfect.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Clark.
Clark.
Yes, me too.
And I'm from Clark. That's nice. So what do you call this? Day what?
Day Water Mystery Cake.
Day Water Mystery Cake.
Yes.
Okay.
So whenever
well, once again, congratulations to Raziela and Sasha. Let's move away from that. The 14th edition of Joe Metals' annual concert, Praise Reloaded, held at the Elwak Stadium yesterday, saw many gospel lovers show up to enjoy good music, bringing them closer to their maker. The show was power-packed with performances by Joe Metal, Intonkozo Mambo, Akasa Brempo, Nathaniel Bassi, and others. Here are some excerpts.
Baba give me love, praise Reloaded. All the time, say all the time. Yes, you are good. Hallelujah. And cry out. Say it again some more. My mouth can testify, hey, more than my mind can comprehend. What's a man you want now? Like a landlord, I'm alone. It's already my name, but you see, money, I'm alone, and I see.
Oh, it really was a great one. MFA, were you there?
No,
Or you were part of the online watching?
Of course, because it was live, I watched it very live, and I touched up base with the Holy Spirit.
Praise the Lord, hallelujah. Well, for more news, you can log on to My Joy Online, and you know every information you need there is there. MFA?
Of course, and shall I just told you, for more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. Thank you for watching today. My name is MFA Akusi Adeti. Please stay for market, please. Shola, over here, we walk.
We walk.